Trigger warning. Extremely irritating voice. Not for weak ears.
I will not be silenced. No matter what you do, I'll always be singing in my head and yours.
After I posted my last video about Meta Perf glasses, a few things happened. So I planned to create a short video just to give a small update to the story. And I fell into another rabbit hole. So here we are. In previous episode, Meta used subcontractors from Kenya to review footage from customers' glasses, including sensitive content like nudity using the bathroom and so on. Workers reported that they saw people's houses, their bank accounts and documents. Workers also have to review the AI assistant's answer to users' questions and correct them if necessary. Some workers said that they saw questions about crimes. Workers are exploited. They work days and nights, 10-hour shifts.
I don't know what to tell you guys. All right.
After the report went public, Meta confirmed that subcontracted workers might sometimes review content from the glasses for the purpose of improving the experience. They claimed that videos and photos are filtered to protect users' privacy, meaning blurring faces. But according to the workers, this filter sometimes failed. Then, Meta immediately terminated the contract with subcontractors from Kenya. Over 1,000 people lost their jobs. Sama, the company which workers were used to train the AI, says it met every standard Meta required and was never told otherwise. However, Meta disagrees, saying Sama fell short of its expectations. Workers believe the real reason was to silence them, because they spoke about reviewing the footage from glasses. In conclusion, workers were punished by Meta for speaking about poor work conditions. The fact that Meta can easily and without consequences for their business fire thousands of employees should raise a concern. This is a clear message for all subcontractors. Of course, Meta isn't the only company which uses subcontractors to moderate, review the content. Google, Twitter, YouTube, OpenAI and more also rely on workers checking the content. It is not the first time. Shady practices and exploiting the workers who review content on Meta's platforms is nothing new. Sama is only one of many subcontracted companies. So, it's time for the story. Before we start, a real trigger warning. We are going back in time to 2016. Thousands of people around the world work as content moderators for Facebook. Nearly 15,000. In 2017, Facebook began opening content moderation sites in American cities, including Phoenix, Austin, and Tampa. The contracted company is called Cognizant. This is important. Meta relies on outsourcing labor for the worst job.
Shocking!
The US workers got around 28,800 a year. They work day and night shifts. They have 2 short 15-minute breaks and 1 30-minute break for dinner. They also have a special 90-minute wellness time every day. Workers every day saw disturbing videos and photos. They saw graphic violence and child exploitation materials, animal abuse videos, and reviewed hate speech and conspiracy theories. After regular exposure to this type of content, many workers are subsequently diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and related conditions. They experience symptoms like anxiety, sleep loss, dissociation, and panic attacks. What's more, some workers told The Verge that they started to embrace extreme ideology and conspiracy theories because they saw them all the time. This is important to notice. Constant exposure to extreme rhetoric pushes the limits of tolerance for this. This is something we all can observe on the internet right now. The red pill misogynistic incel rhetoric is normalized. No one is horrified by this. It stopped being marginalized sus corner of the internet. People build careers on this.
There's all these fucking whores in your house, and then you go upstairs to work.
I understand why men leave. If you get fat.
Yuck. Moving on. Workers signed NDAs so they couldn't talk about their experience on the job, even with their family. Imagine that you see disturbing, horrible images and videos all the time and can't talk with anyone about it. The company legally forbids any help for you. You get only a 9-minute wellness break. Yeah, this definitely helped. Workers felt isolated, lonely, so many of them abuse alcohol and other stimulants. You might wonder if the crimes witnessed by the moderators every day were reported to the police. The workers had a special tool for this, but one of them told The Verge that the crimes he saw every day never resulted in legal action being taken against the perpetrators. Imagine you every day see child exploitation materials or violence against people and animals, and you can't do anything about it. So, the work was terrible, the pay was terrible, but maybe the workplace was good.
Nope. Ain't no way.
Oh, a filthy workplace infested by bedbugs. Discrimination, sexual harassment, and threats of violence. Someone died of a heart attack in the office, and people kept working during paramedics' action.
Oh.
So, workers signed NDAs, and they weren't allowed to have their phones with them or any device, even paper scraps. Meta's explanation is that it was to protect the privacy of Facebook users. Groundbreaking opinion. It was to protect the company, not a user's privacy. Meta doesn't care about users' privacy. Facebook didn't want the moderator to show how bad the work environment was, the crimes that the company ignored, and how bad the content actually was.
Obviously.
By the way, Sama, the company which worked with Meta and reviewed the videos from the perv glasses, worked with Meta before. Sama first worked with Meta in content moderation. In 2022, the company changed their business model and stopped offering content moderation. They focused on AI. Allegedly, it was caused by former content moderators who sued the company and Meta in 2022. Workers accused the companies of paying low wages and not offering sufficient mental health support. Since we are on the subject of annoying, embarrassing tech bros, Sam Altman
talk about how much energy it takes to train an AI model relative to how much it costs a human to do one inference query. But it also takes a lot of energy to train a human. It takes like 20 years of life and all of the food you eat during that time.
In short, OpenAI used Kenyan workers to make ChatGPT less shitty and pay them less than $2 per hour. And the company which worked with OpenAI was Sama, the same Sama that worked with Meta.
That's not good. Not even a little bit.
Before we move on, a little bit about Sama. Sama is a San Francisco-based company that employs workers in Kenya, Uganda, and India to label data for Silicon Valley companies. The US company hired people from low-income countries. Not sus at all.
Oh no, not again.
But okay, maybe I just have some biases. After all, Sama is the first AI company to get a B Corp certification. This certification is completely legit, totally not used to greenwash, and the organization totally didn't face any controversy. Of course, companies have to pay for the certification and recertify every 3 years. The organization is private, so no one controls the process of certification, and B Corp standards are not legally enforceable. Back to Sama, self-proclaimed ethical data labeling that is socially responsible, with a sprinkle of white savior complex. The company claimed that thanks to them, 50,000 people were lifted out of poverty across Africa and got them dignified digital work. Sama absolutely supported their workers and never tried, allegedly, suppress their right to unionize. What did work for Sama look like?
Pure shit!
Sama offered outsourcing work for big corporations like Meta or OpenAI. Workers from Kenya, similarly to American colleagues about whom I talked earlier, worked as moderators for Facebook. Like them, the Kenyan workers barely got any money for their work. $1.50 per hour for locals and $2.20 per hour for workers who had to relocate to Nairobi from other regions. Sama's founder, Leila Yana, justified the low pay by claiming that if Sama paid more, this would ruin the local economy. Yes, she really said that. But one thing that's critical in our line of work is to not pay wages that would distort local labor markets. If we were to pay people substantially more than that, we would throw everything off. That would have a potentially negative impact on the cost of housing, the cost of food in the communities in which our workers thrive.
Why, that's the evilest thing I can imagine!
So, if a company you work for doesn't want to give you a raise, it is because it cares about you. Funny that this logic only applies to the workers, never to the management and CEO. Workers had to watch disturbing videos and read hate speech. Some of them had to watch horrible videos about the civil war in Ethiopia. Workers had 50 seconds to review the materials, no matter whether the videos had a few seconds or hours. If they took longer to think or need the moment to process mentally what they just saw, they were reprimanded by the team leader. Workers had a quality score. They had to be correct at least 84% of the time. Because of this, many of them didn't use filters from Facebook. Facebook put features to help protect moderators, like blurring, but this could extend the time it takes to evaluate the video. What's more, workers claimed that they weren't aware that the job required watching disturbing videos. Allegedly, the company didn't inform workers about that during the job interview. They revealed it after workers signed a non-disclosure agreement. So, at the moment, they felt it's too late to turn back. Workers told journalists that the work was a mental torture. Many workers wanted to resign, but they couldn't due to economic pressure. They also didn't have access to quality mental health care. Workers got some wellness breaks, but their requests were often rejected because they impacted productivity. Sama, which offers dignified digital work, rejected any demand for improvement of working conditions and fired the worker who organized the strike and fought for unionizing.
It's all the same in the end.
Sama worked with OpenAI to train ChatGPT-3, the racist one, the misogynistic and violent one. This chatbot was trained on the internet, so it mimicked a toxic internet environment. It was impossible to clean the chatbot database from biases and toxicity. So, OpenAI did what Facebook did. Used manual laborers from low-income countries to create AI detectors to filter inappropriate content.
I've got good news, and bad news, and worst news!
The system was simple. Feed the AI toxic, disturbing content, and then use workers to flag this content, and teach the algorithm how to spot this type of content. Sama paid their workers take-home wage between $1.32 and $2 per hour depending on performance. Workers were expected to read and label around 150 to 250 passages of text per 9-hour shift, but in reality it could range from around 100 words to over 1,000. Workers had to read disturbing content all day, 5 days a week. The work made a mark on workers' mental health. The company provides sessions with wellness counselors, but it was unhelpful. Workers often couldn't even attend sessions because of pressure to be more productive in work. They only could attend in group sessions. The one-to-one sessions were denied by management. The SAMA spokesperson denied allegations and claimed that workers could earn between $1.46 and $3.74 per hour after taxes, and workers only labeled 70 text passages per 9-hour shift. OpenAI didn't take any responsibility for the situation. What's more, SAMA also worked with OpenAI for another project. SAMA collected sexual and violent images, some of them illegal under US law, and delivered them to OpenAI. From document reviewing by the time, some of those images were categorized as C4, child sexual abuse, and some as C3, including bestiality, rape, and sexual slavery. OpenAI spokesperson didn't specify the purpose of the images, just claimed that labeling harmful images was a necessary step in making its AI tools safer. This was in 2022, so the people didn't know about AI slop generators yet. This gives us an insight into how the algorithm which created AI slop was trained. SAMA ended their contract with OpenAI 8 months earlier. You can see the pattern here. Big corporations use manual laborers to improve their AI chatbot or to review the content. The content often is disturbing. Employees work long hours, have to deal with their mental problems alone. This is the heart of the AI industry, the heart of the technological revolution. Manual laborers from low-income countries. There is also one important thing I should mention. Many workers felt a lot of pride from their work. They protected others from harmful content and made social media safer. They were ready to continue their work. All they asked for was a little help from companies they work for. Some recognition, a bit of dignity, fair pay, and mental health care. But this was too much for billion-dollar corporations. Outsourcing is nothing more than shifting responsibility to another company. Thanks to this, Meta or OpenAI can pretend that they are good employers. Exploitation and union busting is someone else's fault. Outsourcing work to low-income countries is neocolonialism.